Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire? You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
From the Boston Globe, this is Rhode Island Report. I'm Ed Fitzpatrick. Welcome back to the podcast where we bring you big conversations from our very small state. Today, we're going on a field trip to the factory responsible for my favorite drink in elementary school, coffee milk. They still make Autocrat coffee syrup at a facility in Rhode Island, so we decided to check it out. We are at Autocrat headquarters here in Lincoln, Rhode Island. It's owned by Finley's now, which is a Great Britain company. And we're going to get a tour of the plant and find out where all the coffee syrup that I drank as a kid was made.
Good morning.
How are you? Nice to meet you. We're greeted by Art Lopez, the Vice President of Marketing. Thanks for giving us a tour today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming to our home and shedding some light on it. So really appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Well, yeah, I'm a Rhode Islander. I grew up in Greenville.
Yep.
And so I went to William Windsor Elementary School and drank coffee milk the entire time.
That's awesome.
So that's what I'm trying to answer today. Why was that? Why was coffee milk there? And is that why I'm addicted to coffee now?
Well, I think we can answer the first part. I'm not so sure about the second. That's a trade secret.
It's
why you keep
journalism,
coming back.
yeah,
right.
It's healthy journalism. We settle into the conference room to get some answers. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm a Rhode Islander, and I'm curious about Autocrat's history because it's part of my history. So tell me about how coffee milk started. Do you have a history of the company and the product?
Let's go back all the way to late 1920s, early 1930s. You have a lot of immigrants coming to the U.S., right? And settling down in particular in this area. So they brewed their coffee in the morning, right? They have their own drip coffee. People actually would take their spent coffee grinds. They introduced those grinds with sugar. And they actually steep this all afternoon and then add milk later on. And they have a healthy pick-me-up in the afternoon. So think about this. We've got a lot of workers. The Industrial Revolution is just starting to ramp up. And right here down the road in the Blackstone Valley corridor, where there was a lot of history in milling from cotton and nylon, textiles, etc., these workers were taking their brewed coffee from the morning, adding sugar to it, steeping it in milk, and voila, came the idea of coffee milk.
And so it was founded right here in Rhode Island.
Right here in Rhode Island, right in this corridor that we're in, the Blackstone, Valley, in which there was so much manufacturing that, really powered the Industrial Revolution.
So you're saying it was like a time when the economy wasn't great, right? And people were trying to extend the coffee, make greater use of it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Extend it, trying to maximize what they already had at home, trying to reach a little deeper into the cupboard, get a little bit more out of it than what existed. So I think what really started the Autocrat brand and the syrup itself, so we got to go to 1938.
Okay.
And at the time, it was not the Autocrat company. It was actually Brownell and Field Company was the organization's name, and they came up with the Autocrat brand. And a lot of that really goes back to seeing this trend that was taking place at the time. So we talked about the spent coffee grinds with the sugar added back into them. And it really took a step where they said, hey, we can manufacture this at scale to make it easier for people, more portable, more easy for people to be able to just pour a little bit out into their milk at home. Let's do the legwork for them rather than having to take those extra steps. And sure enough, in 1938, we were able to create a product called Autocrat coffee syrup, which is the same kind of product today where we're extracting coffee, we're concentrating that coffee, and then we're adding in sugar as well as some proprietary ingredients to give it that awesome flavor profile that everybody loves.
So as a Rhode Islander, I find that when I meet people from other states, they look at me like I'm crazy when I talk about, I want coffee milk. What are you talking about? So tell us, how far afield is the market? You know, I have the impression it's only in Rhode Island. You know?
It extends to all in New England. So the Autocrat brand itself and coffee syrup and coffee milk on its own, really it stretches, the heart is right here where we're sitting, right? Rhode Island is the tried and true heart of coffee milk. However, it certainly extends to Massachusetts to the north, it extends to Connecticut in the south, and that's reflected with the distribution of where you can buy the Autocrat bottle itself. You can find it on grocery chains all throughout that area. But I think you're onto something that people, you say people think they're a little crazy about this coffee milk.
I'm not saying they're wrong. Yeah.
But there's actually a really rich story about Autocrat coffee syrup. And while we all know it as coffee syrup and the state drink is coffee milk as of 1993, right? There's also a story about a certain company based in Seattle that you may or may not have heard of.
Starbucks. Yes.
That's right.
The Frappuccino.
That's right. Exactly.
Tell me about that.
So there was a small chain based out of Cambridge, Massachusetts in the early 90s called the Coffee Connection. There was a joint effort between the Autocrat company and the Coffee Connection to bring to life a new indulgent summertime treat. Basically took frozen, ice cream kind of base and coupled it with coffee syrup to bring to life a brand new product called the Frappuccino. In 1994, Starbucks bought out the Coffee Connection, and with it, the name, the Frappuccino, which now has become an absolute industry icon.
Do Frappuccinos have Autocrat syrup in it?
To date, they have something similar.
Okay.
However, we like to go back and remind everyone that the origin was actually that little Autocrat coffee syrup that we sold into the Coffee Connection at the time that now has become, this giant behemoth and this powerhouse brand, in the world of coffee.
And you mentioned in 1993, the Rhode Island General Assembly named Autocrat the official drink of the state of Rhode Island, right? Can you tell me a bit about that? Because that was a contentious issue. I was looking back at the Providence Journal stories at the time, and there were, floor debates, charges of ethical violations. There was a legislator who owned a Dell's lemonade stand. He was accused of having a conflict of interest. But the rep from Lincoln was fighting hard, John Barr. So tell us about that and your thoughts on Dell's too.
Yeah, sure. So, you can't mention coffee syrup without also mentioning Dell's. Let me start there, okay? Dell's is obviously an institution as well. We like to think that we work collaboratively simpatico with Dell's rather than in conflict too. So I'm gonna bury the hatchets in the past,
it's very
right?
diplomatic of you.
That's what we try to go for. So it's
That's
funny.
why you're the director of marketing.
That's right. But when it comes to the history behind it and how we came to be, obviously, we're thrilled with the outcome. We feel that the outcome was, rooted very deeply into the history of this part of the country.
Is Autocrat still in schools like William Windsor? And I actually think we went to William Windsor. It's no longer a school, so that's not an option. But, there's a push of keeping sweet, more sugary drinks out of schools. Is it still in schools in Rhode Island?
Unfortunately, it is no longer in schools. And a lot of
that,
a lot of that is due to exactly what you said, kind of the cutting back on sugar and also caffeine and trying to reduce that back. There's been a lot of legislation around that, which, we're all for. Healthy choices and allowing parents to make those choices and all of that.
Why is it called Autocrat? You don't have to be an autocrat to like it, obviously.
No. We are very pro-democracy here, actually. We are not about autocratic. That being said...
Wait, I was thinking, they named it Autocrat in the 30s? Like, there were a lot of models for that then. I was just curious.
Inspired by this book. Over here.
Yep.
Stephanie Trachtenberg, who also works in marketing for Finley's, walks over to the table in the corner of the room and picks up a book.
The founder came across this book.
Oh, no kidding. It's called Autocrat of the Breakfast Table, a collection of short stories by Oliver Wendell Holmes. Apparently, the founder, Frank Oldfield, read the title and was inspired.
I guess the idea was that you're commanding the conversation at the table and you're sort of the authority and just a way to kind of command an audience and bring people together at the table.
I haven't read this one, but I will.
It's a real summer page turner.
This is the beach read I was looking for. But no kidding, that's interesting. We'll have more about Autocrat and take a tour of the factory after a quick break.
Say what you want about AI, but it's here. And it's helping businesses get more done in a day. Wix's website builder is infused with AI so you can stay ahead. Create a beautiful, functional website just by describing your idea. Track how your site appears in AI search results. Create custom images on demand, or launch an entire campaign in a matter of minutes. Wix gives you AI wherever you need it. Try it now for free at Wix.com.
Wherever you go, whatever they get into, from chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredeliaQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.
So yeah, I'd love to get a tour.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're going into the factory floor of where Autocrat is made and so much more. This is Paul, our factory plant manager.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Paula Labrie. I'm the plant manager. Been with Finlay's former Autocrat for 18 years. So we are at the Lincoln facility. This is a manufacturing of coffee extracts and coffee syrups. We have over here 3 shifts. We put all different raw ingredients together and we come up with coffee extracts.
When Paula says raw ingredients, she means it. We walk over to a pile of bags filled with green coffee beans.
That's the green bean before we actually get roasted. So everything starts with that, and then from there it's like magic. Roasting part of it, all it is just heat. And then there's a water quench that actually stops the cooking process.
This must get hot in here during the summer with the...
Yes, it gets, as you can feel it right now, right? It gets hot. So we use temperatures above 400 degrees for roasting.
The coffee beans come from all over the world.
Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Vietnam. I mean, different blends. It all depends on the customer needs, but that's how it starts.
After the coffee beans are roasted, Paula says they have to sit and degas for about 7 to 8 hours. When they're ready, the beans get loaded into a long metal tube.
This is the machine. Literally what we're doing over here is we just get the bean as a whole bean, goes through a grinding. We're applying heat, water, and time. And then you end up with a coffee concentrate.
The factory here makes all kinds of coffee products, so the end result could be coffee syrup, cold brew, hot brew, whatever they're making that day.
We have like multiple recipes depending on the customer, but that's the basic.
Then the coffee concentrate goes into storage tanks in the next room.
From those storage tanks, we move it over to those big mixers, and this is where we add all the other different raw ingredients. Okay, for the coffee Autocrat, so we put liquid and coffee extract and different adds on. From there, we move it over to different holding tanks and goes into the packaging lines.
The packaging line isn't running today, but we can see the conveyor belt and the stations for adding labels to the containers.
So if you could visualize this, you would have empty bottles going into this line, going to a filler, and then full bottles coming out into a packaging area, into a conveyor outside.
It's quite an operation.
Yeah, I just didn't realize when I first started my career, like, that it was that detailed. You as a consumer, the only thing that you see is the end result, a cup of coffee or a cup of Autocrat coffee milk. So you really do not see how many steps it takes from beginning to end to have that cup of coffee.
There are more steps behind the scenes too. Next to the production floor is a cupping room where researchers test the coffee beans every day. They start by grinding the roasted coffee and putting it in cups.
The first step is actually to smell the coffee, just the dry coffee in the cup, and looking to detect any differences in aroma versus our standard.
That's Hilary Hursh, the Senior Director of Research and Development.
We then add hot water to it and actually let it brew in the cup. And then we go through a process that's called breaking, where you take a spoon and you break the crust of the coffee, and you're smelling the aroma at that stage. We then skim the grinds off the top of the cup and then actually taste the coffee.
So the job is to drink coffee all day. Can I?
Yes,
are you accepting applications? I'm asking for a friend.
For this process, because we're tasting so many cups of coffee, we do typically spit the coffee out. So you're really just wanting the coffee to coat your tongue, and then we're spitting it out. That helps to keep the caffeine consumption under control. We are generally a well-caffeinated group of people, but everyone has their limit.
The team also has a research and development lab where they dream up new ways to use coffee extract.
So we work mainly on beverages in this lab, but we also work on some other categories. Ice cream is another big one that's popular locally. Obviously, anywhere you go, you're going to find a coffee ice cream, so we work on a lot of those as well.
But this team isn't messing with the Autocrat recipe.
We want to make sure that every batch of coffee syrup tastes exactly the same as the last one and tastes the same as it has over the years and the decades.
So for quality control, the team looks to make sure the taste of Autocrat is just right. Hilary describes it this way.
The primary flavor of Autocrat syrup is obviously the sweetness, but there's also a kind of caramelized note that I think is really nice. Not too much bitterness, because we know consumers generally don't like a lot of bitterness or astringency in their coffee, so just a nice, balanced, caramelized-type sweetness.
Would you say it tastes like Rhode Island?
I would say it does. I'm not from Rhode Island originally. I was new, actually, to coffee syrup when I started working here, but I definitely associate it as the flavor of Rhode Island.
As for the correct color?
The syrup itself is very dark brown. It has a nice clarity to it. Most of our consumers are mixing it to a color. They are looking for a specific shade of brown. That's their preferred strength. I don't think there are a lot of people out there that are actually measuring their coffee syrup as they're adding it. So yeah, if our color is too dark, when they put it in milk, they're not going to add enough, and then they're not going to get the nice flavor that they're expecting.
Speaking of getting the right flavor, when we finish our tour, Art Lopez brings out some Autocrat syrup and a bottle of milk.
The last thing that we had to do is at least give you the offer to make your own coffee milk.
Well, this is a great idea. I'm driving, so I won't have too much. But
low fat milk. Maybe that's what we have here.
I like it in a glass bottle, no less.
Yeah.
We're about to see just how much caffeine you need for the rest of the day, Ed.
Yeah. No need to measure, I don't think. Can make it a little heavier.
I agree. It's based off the color, right?
It's based on the color.
That's really what it's going to do.
I think milk is optional. Does that look right? All right. There you go.
All right. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you for showing us around.
Yeah, hope you guys learned a thing or two.
I appreciate it. That's tasty. Just as good as it was at William Windsor. To see a video of our tour of the Autocrat factory, go to globe.com/Rhode Island. That's globe.com/Rhode Island. Rhode Island Report is a production of the Boston Globe. Today's episode was produced by Megan Hall. Our music is from APM. Be sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. I'm Ed Fitzpatrick. See you next week.
Your business is one of a kind, so your website should be too. With Wix, it's easy, almost too easy, to create a website that's perfectly yours. Just tell AI what kind of site you want to build, or choose from thousands of templates. Change whatever you want, whenever you want, and get everything you need to start running your business your way. No matter what you sell or what you aspire